Before we begin, I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land and waterways on which we are recording today, the Wurundjeri, Wairarong and Bunurong people of the Eastern and Greater Kulin Nation. We pay our deepest respects to their elders, past and present. We extend that respect to all First Nations people, and we honour that their sovereignty was never ceded. We acknowledge their enduring and unbroken connection and contributions, the storytelling, as well as their continued fight and deep understanding, as well as commitment and caring for the country, land, waterways, sky, culture and communities. We stand with them in their ongoing calls for truth-telling, treaty, sovereignty, justice, land rights and reconciliation. This was, and always will be, Aboriginal land. Hidden amongst the rush of trams, skyscrapers, and long lunch hours chaos of Naarm-Melbourne CBD, there's a humble bluestone church that has witnessed everything from gold rush weddings to political riots, from bushranger bloodlines to the birth of Catholic Naarm-Melbourne. And yes, this is where Ned Kelly's parents tied the knot. Before I go on, quick heads up. If you could, please hit the like, share and subscribe to the YouTube channel and follow us on Podbean and socials as well. Before we begin, quick heads up. Today's episode touches on themes of colonial settlement, religious discrimination and historical violence, which may be distressing to some listeners and viewers. So if this is not the right time for you, I totally understand, and as your well-being comes foremost. So please do consider either pausing, skip, or checking out one of our lighter episodes. Yet, if you do choose to go with this episode, as always, remember to listen and watch with care. Welcome to Down the Yarra, the podcast that takes you on a deep dive into the heart and soul of Naarm-Melbourne and South Central Victoria. Whether you're a local or just curious, this podcast is for you. I'm your host, Andy. Today, we're stepping inside one of the oldest surviving buildings in the entire CBD, St. Francis Catholic Church, on the corner of Lonsdale and Elizabeth Streets in the city. When construction began in 1841, Naarm-Melbourne was still a muddy colonial outpost. Governor Joseph Charles Latrobe had only set up his office. Collins Street was a rutted dirt track. Get purchased for barely £300. Irish immigrants, convicts, and goldfield hopefuls pulled their pennies to build something extraordinary, a Catholic church that would outlast them all. Architect Samuel Jackson designed it in a simple Gothic revival style, with thick brick walls and tall pointed windows. Yes, open for worship in 1845, which would be decades before St. Patrick's Cathedral even broke ground in East Melbourne, near Eastern Hill and Fitzroy Gardens. In 1850, a young couple who had just immigrated separately from Ireland, former convict John Ned Kelly and Ellen Quinn, stood before the altar at St. Francis and were married. They never thought their son would become Australia's most notorious bush outlaw, Ned Kelly, of course. The Kelly families makes this modest church a footnote in bushranger folklore. Reminder that every great story with an ordinary human moment somewhere in these pews sparked the Kelly myth. It began the Kelly myth. Of the decades, St. Francis faced near demolition, expansion, as well as multiple restoration attempts. The original tower was rebuilt. Fires threatened its roof, and modern skyscrapers now loom over it. The church draws hundreds daily. Still, step inside and the modern CBD noises fade away. The scent of candle wax, whispers of Latin prayers, and the shifts of coloured might remind you of the city's faith. Its history runs deep beneath the glass and steel that it's constructed of. Beyond religion, St. Francis tells a story of survival. Irish immigrants carving out an identity in a Protestant colony, of community enduring through famine, discrimination, and urban sprawl. It's a relic that still lives on. Proof that Melbourne's oldest church is anything but a museum piece today. Next time on Down the Yarra, we'll take you up, quite literally, to one of CBD's most unexpected heritage treasures. Of course, I'm talking about the shot towers inside Melbourne Central. A virtual time capsule surrounded by glass domes and shopping buzz. And while we're there, we'll swing past Clifton Hill to another little known that guards the skyline and has its own story to be told. You won't believe how bullets, bricks, and shopping malls all collide in the next chapter of Naarm-Melbourne's industrial and architectural history. Story. If you've enjoyed today's walk through faith and folklore, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow Down the Yarra on Podbean and across all our socials for more hidden histories of Naarm-Melbourne and South Central Victoria. As always, I'm your host, Andy, and always remember, beneath every shiny new tower, there's always an old story waiting to be told.